Hi, I'm harvesting peppers today. Going to be dehydrating a lot of peppers. I might try making some fermented pepper sauce. So I'm really excited. I've been harvesting these peppers all summer long and they just keep giving me more and more peppers. So the first pepper I'm harvesting here are my jalapenos. This is just a smaller jalapeno pepper. And I've been doing dehydrated peppers every year. I do lots of dehydrated peppers and I make pepper flakes and I give them as Christmas gifts. So here is my harvest just from one jalapeno. Now we're going to move on to the Anaheims, which are next to it. So this Anaheim pepper plant is also in full harvest mode now. It's got so many peppers on it. I've done some pickled banana peppers this year. And pickled banana peppers are wonderful. And like I said, lots of dehydrated pepper flakes. I use them in all my cooking, soups, stews, casseroles, just everything. I just love the pepper flakes. I'm moving on to my banana pepper plants. And as you can see, these are just gorgeous. So here's an example of my Anaheim peppers. Some of them have been on the vine, on the plant, a little bit long, and they are starting to turn kind of a red, yellow. They start to turn like a yellow, and then eventually they'll actually turn red, like this one is starting to turn. Now I'm moving on to my banana pepper plants. These are wonderful. They're huge. They're awesome. Again, this plant is loaded with peppers. And maybe I'll be making more banana pepper, pickled peppers. They're really good on sandwiches, and I like to use them a lot, even in like Mexican food. If I make enchiladas, I'll sprinkle the top with my pickled banana peppers. Just adds a little tang to them. So here's my harvest so far off of just 3 of my pepper plants. I'm moving on now to my other, these are more jalapenos. These are getting a little bit burnt. Some of these have burns on them. It's been really hot here. We've had 3 days of really hot weather, and they're like scalded. I've got one here that's got a big burn on it. I can still cut them off and use them. I can cut off the burnt part. So in this pot, I actually have 2 plants growing. Another ladybug. I have 2 plants growing here. One is a larger, hotter pepper. I can't actually remember the name off the top of my head. One year I tried planting a pepper. I tried planting 2 pepper plants in each pot, and they just did not do well. And they got a really bad aphid infestation, and I battled aphids all year. So this year I just said 1 pepper plant per bag, and they've done so much better. They're healthier. But in this one pot I did put 2 peppers, and they're doing fine. You can see I'm getting huge peppers off of these. So while harvesting my peppers, I noticed this one plant, which is, there's 2 plants in this bag, and one is a jalapeno and the other is a natapeno. I noticed lots of ants. In fact, when I touch the plant, ants are crawling all over me. And when I see a lot of ants, I always think aphids. So sure enough, when I started looking, I could see a few aphids on here. Not a lot, but a few. And if I let it go, there'll be more and more and more. So I've got my spray here. This is my peppermint oil. I use it on aphids, whiteflies, and spider mites. I use 1 to 2 teaspoons of peppermint oil per gallon. And I use it 1 to 2 times a week if I think I have an aphid problem. So I'm just going to nip it in. I'm going to nip this in the bud right now and spray peppermint oil on this plant, mainly on the top and under the leaves, and just spray it. Now, this is probably the only thing I've used in my garden, pesticide I've used in my garden this year has been peppermint oil. And then if I come out a few days later and I still see a lot of ants and aphids, then I move on to my soapy water spray. But usually it's amazing that this peppermint oil will just take care of the problem quickly. So that's all I'm going to do for now. And then I'll come out tomorrow, check the plant again. And if I still see a lot of aphids, then I'll move on to my insect spray, my soapy water insect spray. But that's it. The peppermint oil irritates the bugs. It also repels them. The scent repels them. It irritates them. And I find that it just is a really, really good organic spray to use in your garden. All right, we're moving on to the poblano peppers. So here I've got my poblano peppers. As you can see, this plant is taller. And I'm just going to go ahead and snip them off. I have a wonderful recipe for making, oh, there's a ladybug here too. Thank goodness I have so many ladybugs in my garden, helping to keep the aphids gone. Well, while I was pruning, I found another plant not doing great with, I didn't find a lot of aphids, but I found a lot of ants going up and down the plant and a few aphids. So I went ahead and sprayed that with the peppermint oil as well. Well, the weather's getting hot and the plants are getting worn out. And to be honest, I'm a little worn out and I haven't been out fertilizing like I should. And the plants are getting overheated and stressed. So it's likely, you know, that's why a few of them now have aphids and aren't doing as great as they were. So it takes time. You got to get out regularly, check your plants, keep them fertilized and healthy. And, you know, when you see a problem, take care of it early. And, you know, and then be harvesting all the time. So if you get busy with life and you just don't get out, you know, there's a good chance by the time you get out to your garden, you may have a few problems. It's easy enough to take care of though, but it's kind of disappointing, you know, when you see a plant that's pretty much, you know, not doing well and it's like infested or sick. At this time of year though, I usually just say, I'm done. I'm going to pull the plant and then I'll grow it a new one next year. Especially when you have like this, so many peppers. If I have to pull a few plants, that's just the way it is. I've gotten a lot of peppers this year, but at this time of year, like we're saying late September and it's 100 degrees today, it's been like this for a few days. You know, it's probably, I'm going to lose several plants now, but it is the way it is when you garden.